enterprise team's IT head or the CIO comes to you, what are his or her major concerns and what are they looking for from your solution, and are there any problems that you face?
Sure. I think they try to look at how many documents we cover. And we obviously cover all 5 OVDs right now. We cover Aadhaar, PAN, voter ID, driver's license and passport. So one of their biggest things is how many government documents do we cover? The second is, of course, our accuracy. To what accuracy are we detecting all these documents? Our face match, our liveness, right? What is the accuracy? And this is typically called FRR or FAR. False reject rates and false accept rates, right? So if we accept somebody incorrectly into the system, we've actually introduced vulnerability, right? We've reduced the security of their system. If we've rejected somebody inaccurately, right, then we've basically, a customer that was onboarding to that, our client site, is now denied service, right? So our FRR and FAR rates are very low. So that is something the CIOs look at. You
mentioned about moving into Tier 2 and Tier 3 cities. And what percentage of infiltration is it at currently, and when do you think we can actually begin to see them using identity access management solutions?
So I think we are already seeing a lot of requests coming from Tier 2, Tier 3. I would say a good 30% of our requests across our partners come from Tier 2, Tier 3. And these are mainly, we see it from these fintechs that are doing lending, where we see them, a request that comes in, and we, at the back end, it's probably a request for a cell phone, a loan for a cell phone, right? It's a small ticket loan, a ticket 8,000 rupees loan or a 10,000 rupees loan. We also work with many small finance banks, and typically their outreach is into the Tier 2, Tier 3s. So like I said, a good 30 to 40% of our volumes is coming from Tier 2, Tier 3.
So ever since the introduction of Aadhaar, it's been a revolution of sorts. So
yes.
How are you taking it forward with Veri5digital? What are the solutions that you offer? Can you just give a very broad?
I think Aadhaar was what brought in digital identity to our country. So with Aadhaar, we saw a lot of adoption of digital identity. Whether it is where the consent was either through the OTP that the consumer was receiving or through their biometric, usually the fingerprint or iris. So I think it was a steady growth we started seeing. However, the Supreme Court verdict, the Honorable Supreme Court did say that private entities should access Aadhaar only if they're backed by law. So post that is where solutions like ours, which are based on machine learning and artificial intelligence, are seeing a lot of traction come in. Yeah. So I think Aadhaar opened the doors. Aadhaar made it easy for the end consumer to understand that with his Aadhaar card, he can actually access a lot of services. Like I said, financial services, employment services, because we work with some of the largest temp working firms in India, the largest workforce firms in India, where when people are coming from Tier 2, Tier 3 to come in as a, big bazaar job salesperson, right? So within few seconds, their identity is basically confirmed.
Talking about photo identification in general and your Veri5 KYC video ID, it was interesting to note because you're trying to match the photos on a driving licenses on a PAN card.
Yeah.
With a current photo.
Yeah.
Because mine was taken 10 years ago and
Correct.
And I look totally different.
Totally different. Not to the algorithm.
I've gone 2 tones darker also. A lot more pages there.
Yeah.
So, what is the type of AI, ML and type of technology that goes behind that to accurately predict like photo identification that this is the right person who is there?
Yeah, it's a good question. So algorithmically, there is certain distance between your pupils. There is a certain distance of the bridge of your nose. Okay. At the very basic, there is a certain math of your face. And that math proportionally remains the same.
Okay.
However much you grow, how much facial hair you get, right? So a lot of those are what the algorithm takes into account. right? And this is the basis of facial recognition for all the products, whether it's the Google algorithm or the Amazon algorithm or our own, right? And we have better accuracy rates than Google and Amazon. The main reason being, especially Google, its algorithm is built on social photos, right? Photos where you've taken in great light. I mean, who puts up photos on Google Photos, right? You go through 10 photos and you put the 2 that look the best, right? But we are comparing against photos on your PAN card, on your Aadhaar card, the worst photos possible, correct? So our algorithms are trained for such photos, right? So we do have very, very high accuracy rates.
How important do you think photo recognition, video recognition will be
in the upcoming future?
Yes.
I think very important. And let me give you a little bit of background to this. So in the years that we've been in the Aadhaar identity play, we have seen 2 other biometrics being very popular: fingerprint and iris, right? Now fingerprint necessitates a device, because today even your phones,
and the person has to be present.
Exactly. You would think that, hey, I open my phone with my biometric, right? But it's a very small part of your thumb impression that is actually taken to open your phone. And typically that doesn't cover the entire what is called the plate-in area, right? So when you actually put a fingerprint, when you put it on a ink and you put it, it's a very large imprint that comes in, right? So that is, and like you said, that needs an external device. Now iris absolutely needs an external device, right? So guess which biometric is left, which is non-invasive? Your face, right? I mean, there are a lot more biometrics. There's blood tests, there's DNA, but everything is invasive, right? I do think, I mean, our solution and solutions around the world will start using voice biometric. That's another biometric that can be used. But I think face is something that will become very omnipresent, especially because the device is in our pocket.
What do you think is the next frontier to biometrics, and especially in a country like India?
Yeah. So, like I said, in the near term, I do see face becoming very pervasive, because Androids are getting as low as 3,500, 4,000, right? While, and if you've noticed in even all the newer models, while the storage space might be very less, the camera is very powerful, right? So I do see face as a biometric emerging very strongly among all the various biometrics. And I think digital KYC, the way we have proposed, we do wish for RBI to approve it as well in the coming years, days, months, weeks, because I think it's a very strong, it can always be followed up by a human verification.